Alrighty. My name is Arthur Robinson Jr. I'm the creator and host of the Powerful Interviews podcast, along with successful entrepreneur co-host Jordan Phillip. And tonight, I have a special treat for each and every one of you. Tonight, I have a wonderful person on the show. And he's a great friend of mine. His name is Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson. And Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson, he's the best-selling author of his phenomenal book, which is called The Antidote. He also has a phenomenal show, which is called The Fallen State. And he also has another phenomenal show, which is called The Jesse Lee Peterson Show. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome the one, the only, the powerful Jesse Lee Peterson to the show.
Amazing. Arthur,
welcome,
thank you for having me on. I appreciate being on with you and Jordan. Thank you so much.
Definitely. Thank you for joining us, Pastor. Really appreciate it, Pastor Peterson, for joining us. It's an honor to have you join us. Definitely appreciate it.
Thank you, Jordan. You can just call me Jesse. I'm just Jesse.
Jesse. Okay, definitely. Definitely, right. Jesse.
Yes.
To everyone that's listening, I highly recommend go and get your pen and your pad right now. My great friend Jesse Lee Peterson is going to break down last terms about his phenomenal book, The Antidote, and we're going to talk about his phenomenal brand, The Fallen State. Is that correct, Jesse?
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
Can you break down layman's terms so the audience fully understand who is Jesse Lee Peterson, how long you've been in your powerful industry, and what inspired you to write your phenomenal book, The Antidote?
Well, in all honesty, I'm just Jesse. I grew up in Alabama on a plantation. I grew up under the Jim Crow laws down in Alabama there, and I left there back in 1968 when I moved to Los Angeles. And long story short, I moved here. Coming from Alabama to California was like coming from a no man land to the kingdom of heaven on earth. It was so beautiful out here at the time. And I didn't really like LA, so I decided to stay out here and work different jobs while I growing up. And then I decided to start my own business. So at the time I was working in computers, and I didn't have enough money to open up a computer business. So I started a janitorial service. And I had that service for about 7 years. And at the time I ended up with 7 employees, full-time employees. And then I started Bond, the Brotherhood organization of a new destiny, after 7 years of having that service. And I sold that service. I split it down the middle, and I sold a half of it to a group of folks and another half to a couple of people. Then I started Bond, and our purpose is to rebuild the family by rebuilding the man. We tutor, we counsel, we have a job, we help find jobs, we have a home for young men. Also, I started an entrepreneurial academy within the organization where we're training young men how to start their own businesses. What we do is we bring in other men who are in business or some who are retired, and they answer whatever questions the guys may have about marketing or sales or whatever they need. But the guys go out and do the work themselves. We also started a credit union where we loan the guys the money if they have bad credit or no credit at all. And so they pay back into the credit union to keep it going. And I have to tell you, Arthur, Jordan, it's been amazing because we bring back that God's order of God in Christ, Christ in man, man over woman, woman over children. That's the spiritual order. And once these boys, we work with all men. For the academy, is ages 15 and up. Once they overcome that anger and they forgive, God forgive them, they're ready to roll. They have great talent coming out of them. So we really have good success with the entrepreneur, the whole thing. We've been around for 29 years now, and just been amazing. No money from the government. We refuse to get any money or ask for money from the government because the less government in your life, the better off you are. And so I've written several books. From Rage to Responsibility is about my life, how I was able to overcome anger, because it's abnormal for men to have anger. Any man or any male that has anger is a woman, because the anger of a man is that of a woman. And most men become angry because they are raised by angry mothers or impatient mothers or mothers who have turned them away from their fathers. And they resent their mothers for that. And you become like what you resent. So they lose their own identity and take on their mother's identity. And so that's why you have a lot of men, especially in the Black community, who think and feel like a woman because he become his mother. And so we show them how to forgive. And when you forgive, God will forgive you. And you don't ask anyone to forgive you. You forgive them, and God will forgive you, and he'll give you back yourself. Then you could be a man again, become your real self. So we show them how to do that, start businesses. Then I've written several books from Race to Responsibility about how I was able to overcome that anger 30 years ago. And then my last book, The Antidote, Healing America from the Poison of Hate, Blame, and Victimhood. In there, I show you that I write about Obama, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, Michael Brown, Trayvon Martin, Louis Farrakhan, Muhammad Ali, and all those guys. The one thing that they all had in common, that they had no fathers. And that's why they're more into their mothers than they are into men. That's why they're not encouraging men to become men again, or don't know how to tell you to become a man, because they too have the mindset and emotions of a woman. And so I write about that so people can see that our battle is a spiritual battle. It has nothing to do with being male or female, whatever color you might be. It's a warfare between good and evil, right versus wrong. You're either on the side of everyone who has anger. I don't care how many Bibles they have read, how many churches they go to, how much money they give. If they have anger, Satan is their daddy. And those who are forgiven, God take that nature away from you and bring you back into the kingdom of heaven within. You then have his nature. So we show people how to forgive. And that's why Obama and others are not leading not only the Black community, but any community in the right way, because they have the mindset and emotions of a woman and not the logic of men.
Wow.
I said a lot, but.
Oh, that was powerful.
Yeah.
Now, you said men that are raised by their mothers, they basically are taking on that feminine energy. So basically they are beta males instead of alpha males?
They're beta, any man. Beta male. Any man that has anger is a woman. He's just like his mother. And that's why when he starts dating or getting involved with a woman, he's really getting involved with his mother. And that's why they can't handle those women. And so they end up becoming little boys with those women. The women become the mother and they become the boy. It doesn't matter how old they are, how old the woman is, because they have not overcome their mother. They're attracted to women just like mama. And it's not going to change until they face their mothers and forgive her for what she's done to them. You notice in the Black community, the Black men are always worshiping mama. Every time they throw a football and they get $1,000, oh, I want to thank mama. And mama sitting on the front row, whooping and hollering like she's God.
And I had a question also, Jesse, regarding the business, the first business that you started. That sounds like, something which, of course, in the grand scheme of things, you've done so much more after you built and sold that business. But really, how important was that business to you, starting that service, operating that service, and going through the process of selling that business? How important was that foundation to you, building your confidence as an entrepreneur? That's
a good question. I have always, even growing up, I always said that I would have my own business. My father had his own business. He had several businesses. And I've always wanted my own business. And so no one had ever taught me how to start or run a business. And I had not gone to school for it. So I learned as I went along. So I looked around and I realized, well, I would like to have my own business. What kind of business can I start? And I realized I didn't have enough money to start a computer company. I wanted to do computer company or medical transcribing or something like that. And I looked around and I realized that, well, it doesn't take much to start a janitorial service. And I had never cleaned or knew anything about janitorial work. And people were telling me, no, don't do a janitorial service because the Mexicans are going to outbid you. It's going to be hard for you to get it going. But I don't listen to people like that, right? Because that's how they feel. Those are not my feelings. And so I made up a little name for myself, and I made some flyers, and I went out to the grocery store parking lots and put them on the cars. And people would call me and say, hey, I'd like for you to come out and give me an estimation. And so I would go out and look at the job, and I would give them an estimation on what it would cost to do the whole job. And I would have them give me a deposit. So they gave me a deposit, and I would take that money and rent my equipment. And so I would rent my equipment, go and do the job, and then get the rest of the money and put that back into my company. And at the same time, I was still working at the hospital. And so I got so busy, I had to start hiring employees to help me out because one thing led to another one. And 7 years went by, I had 7 full-time employees within a 7-year period, and it was amazing. So I quit working at the hospital, and I just went whole full-time into the janitorial service. And I write about that in my little pocket guide called The 7 Guaranteed Steps to Spiritual, Finance, and Family Success. And I write about those steps, 7 little simple steps. And if you do them, they will work. And no one on earth should teach you that. It comes from within. But I write about it so people can just start realizing starting a business is not as difficult as you've been told. All you have to do is start where you are with what you have. You don't need to go fast. You don't need to borrow money. You don't need a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan. Just start where you are, and every day get up and do what's in front of you to do, and it just unfolds by itself because God is with you. And then after I started that, then I realized it just occurred to me to start Bond, a nonprofit organization. And so that's when I sold that business and I started Bond, and 29 years have gone by. And it's just been amazing what has happened at Bond. We're known around the world now. I counsel with men and women of all races around the world. We have men's fathers conference on Father's Day weekend. We have debates. Mm-hmm. We have town halls. Just all kinds of things are happening right now.
That's amazing. Really, I love that story right there. The foundation of that is there's so much in that. I think that's excellent that you share that and show that, you don't need to get too fancy and complicated. Keep it simple.
That's right.
The statement you said, start with what you have, where you are, right?
That's right.
That's powerful. That's powerful.
Start right where you are. Don't be in a hurry. God is with you, especially if you live in the presence of God. So God is not in yesterday. He's not in tomorrow. He's in right now. That's why he says, come into my present, right? So if you come into the present and live the moment, then you will see how to do each and every moment in whatever it is you're doing. And everything just seems to unfold by itself because God is with you.
That's powerful, Jesse. Very powerful.
Wow. Now, you basically learned the blueprint from your father because he has several businesses. Developed that entrepreneurial spirit when you were young. Can you explain to the audience what type of mindset did you have when you was 10, 11 years old?
Well, in all honesty, I was raised by my grandfather and grandmother down in Alabama because my father got my mother pregnant. They were dating and he got her pregnant. And when she told him about it, he's like, no, I can't make no baby. They had sex standing up. He's like, you can't make no baby standing up. And so he, did you know you can't make a baby standing up? Having sex.
Wow.
Don't try it.
Wow.
And so, but when I was raised down in Alabama. My father moved up to Indiana. My mother married another man just before I was born so that I wouldn't be born out of wedlock. So she married my stepfather, but I never accepted my stepfather. He was a decent man. He tried to get along with me, but I had this desire for my natural father. I didn't want, and no one else could replace that but my real father. So my mother, her husband moved up to Indiana. My father moved up later. They live in different towns at that time. But so I would go up to visit sometime during the summer. He never taught me anything about business. I just saw as a kid, I know that he had a business, right? And for some reason, though, it was just in me to have my own business, to start my own business. And I noticed that several of my brothers are the same way. I'm the oldest, so several of my younger brothers are the same way. They all have their, or at least 3 of them have their own businesses as well. It's like it was passed down from my earthly father to me. It was just in me to do it without him having to teach me anything. And when I started the first business, I had faith in God. I had no doubt. And I never really thought about not succeeding in my business. And I didn't do it in the way that the world did it. You can't follow the way that the world teaches because they'll stress you out. They make you think that you need more than what you need, because the world is of the Satan, and they all want to be important. So they're very intellectual, and they don't tell you the truth. That's why I tell men and women of God to just take one step at a time. When I was 10 years old, I remember I've always said I was going to have my own business. I didn't know at the time what I was going to do. So when I was 10 years old, I just worked. We had to work the cotton fields and things like that down in Alabama. But I never really knew which way I was going to go with a business until I moved to California. And some years later, I realized what to do. I didn't know what I was going to do at 10 years old. I was just having fun, running around being a kid.
Wow. So you basically developed a deep sense of spirituality. And I know spirituality means revenue generated, property acquired. So basically, you running your own businesses and you teaching people around the world how they can actually start where they are to build their own business.
Yeah.
From your own experience, and I know you travel all around the world, and when you speak, Jesse, people listen. Right. What is the best advice that you have ever received?
That I receive or mentioned?
Both.
Well, the best advice that I realized is to seek first the kingdom of God in his right way, and everything will be added. You should love God with all your heart and soul, might, without loving anybody or anything else. You have to love him first so that you become his son. And once you become his son, then you're going to love your neighbor and everybody else the way that he loved you. And his love is not something that you can feel. You can't taste it. You can't touch it. It's a light unto your feet. You just live by it. And the other love is only based on anger. Everyone who has anger feel emotional love, but that is not love at all. It's just emotions. It's really, it awakens your animal nature. So it's not love. That's why you have to drop that and come back to God's love. His love is a light unto your feet. And so when he changed my heart and forgave me, it made me realize that if I just love him, put him first, everything will be added. And so my first thing is that I make sure I be still and know him every day. I created a silent prayer called silentprayer.video. It's on my YouTube, because what God wants you to do is to just be still and know him. Everything that we are, everything we need to know is already inside of us. The kingdom of heaven is inside. And so if you be still and know him, he will reveal all things to you. And so that's what I learned to do 30 years ago. And that's what I've been living by. It's amazing too, because by trusting him, you never have any doubt. And by trusting him, it's amazing the opportunities that he just put in front of you without even thinking about it. They're just there, and you follow those opportunities. And that's what he would do for his children. When you love him more than anything else, he's going to take care of you. That's why he said, take no thoughts about tomorrow or yesterday. Don't worry about what you're going to eat, what you're going to wear, where you're going to sleep, and all that stuff. I will take care of you, he said. And he will add those things unto you if you seek him first. But you got to admit that you're wrong. That means to repent. So you got to go to your mother and admit to her that what she did to you was wrong, but you're wrong for resenting her for it. You realize she couldn't help herself. That's why you got to get to know yourself. Know yourself, you understand the world around you. So go to your mother, and most mothers are not going to admit that they're wrong because they have big egos, and they'll rather tell you that the father is the father, but really it's the mother and not the father. And what they do is they turn you away from your father while playing victim. They're playing victim, but it's really the mother who turned the children away from the father. And when they turn you away from your earthly father, they turn you away from God. No human being, man or woman, will ever know God until they learn to love their earthly father. How can you say you love God who you never seen and hate your earthly father? So you got to forgive your father for not protecting you from your mother. And once you forgive him, through him, you'll get back to God. And whatever your heart desire is, it will be done. But you got to seek him first. You got to pray every morning and night. 30 years ago, I've not missed one morning or night from praying. And now, you know, God said, pray without ceasing. All he wants you to do is stay out of your head, because every thought you get is a lie. You are not your thoughts. You don't create thoughts, and they're not from God. That's why God said, bring all thoughts into captivity. That means to watch them, observe them, but don't believe them. Doubt every thought, then you can believe in God. It's so amazing.
Wow. Now you said put your trust in God. And I know in the Bible it says the church is the light to the sinner. So I know that some people that hate, they don't create. And most people that create, they don't got time to hate. Why do you think that is, Jesse, when you're moving forward in your life, where you are becoming successful, but you having, you know, some family members or even maybe your spouse is hating on you on the low, and they don't want you to be successful, even though they acting like they want you to be successful?
Because they're children of Satan. Satan is their daddy, all in the name of Jesus. Satan is their daddy, and they can't help it because his nature is that of jealousy, envy, strife, and so they really can't help it. And if you happen to have a wife who's like that, the wife wants to be your God. And so if you should put God before her, she's not going to like that. That spirit that's in her, which is of Satan, will be jealous of that. And he will work through her to try to destroy you. And she might not even understand what's driving her to do the things that she wouldn't ordinarily do, but it's Satan inside of her. And when you truly wake up, you are going to lose family members, some of your family members and so-called friends, because they are not of the same God that you are of now. And so that God, that Satan inside of them is going to be jealous of the God inside of you. And especially with men, because men are the Christ on earth. They represent God on earth. And so when other people see that in you, especially women, some women, but not all, but most, when they see that in you, they're going to try to destroy you because they want to be your God. And the way they become your God is to offer you sex first. And because women are sex dealers and men are sex addicts. And so they'll service you sex just to control you. That's why you got to wait until marriage before you have sex. And don't have it before marriage. Don't live with a woman before marriage, because once you have that sex, you become subject to her and not to God. And she's not going to let you go because she loves the power over you. She like having that power. And she'll develop, she like having the power over you, but she also hate it. So she has a love-hate relationship for you. But when you see family members turning away from you, that's fine, because your true family are not your blood families. It's the men and women who believe in God and have become like him, have become his sons and daughters. Those are your spiritual family. No more to blood family, your real family.
Wow.
Are you over your anger?
Huh?
Are you over your anger?
I'm over my anger, Jesse.
You don't have it?
I don't have it.
How about you, Jordan?
I eliminate it.
I'm over mine as well, Jesse.
Did you go and deal with your mother?
Yeah, I'm definitely good with my good with my mom. Yeah.
So you went and forgave her?
Yep, definitely.
How did she deal with that?
She's good with it.
Did she
Definitely would.
apologize for what she did to you?
Yeah,
Did
yeah,
she
she
tell you,
has.
did she tell you that your father loved you, but she ran him off because he didn't know how to deal with her?
Oh yeah, he's still there, but yeah.
Is he a beta?
No, no, he's a double OG alpha actually.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So he protected you from your mother.
Yeah.
The
Yep.
same, Arthur, did your father protect you from your mother?
Most definitely.
Oh, good. You guys are fortunate then.
Most definitely.
Right on.
Yeah. I mean, well, you know, they get along now, but unfortunately, you know, they got divorced.
They got divorced.
Yes.
Oh, and did your father tell you he couldn't handle her? That's why he left. You were married to his mother.
He said he had his differences, and my mom said they had their differences, but they get along so well, even though the marriage didn't work out.
You close to your father?
I'm close to both of my parents.
How about your father?
I'm close to my dad.
Oh, good, man. There's nothing like being close for men and women to be close to their fathers, because when you turn away from your father, you turn away from your own identity, and that void that you feel is the longing of a father, not of material things, not about a job, not the longing of a woman, but the longing of a father. That's why God said, and He's going to return the children to the fathers and the fathers to the children. So when boys and girls, men and women return to their fathers, that emptiness will be fulfilled. God will give you perfect peace, and it will be as though nothing is missing. It's so amazing.
It's definitely amazing. You definitely gotta, you know, have a good relationship with your mother and your father, or
Yeah.
whoever raised you. 'Cause some people that are in my network, they wasn't raised with their mothers and fathers. Unfortunately, they passed away, but
Yeah.
their grandparents stepped in and then raised them. So they, you
And
know, they.
it's God forbid, you shouldn't hate either one of your parents. You're supposed to not hate them. Be honest with them, but don't hate them, right? But if
Right.
you gotta hate, let's say you just gotta hate. I want to hate. I gotta hate. If you have to hate, it would be better to hate your mother than it would to hate your father, because your father represents Christ on earth. And if you hate the son, you're gonna hate the father. So your earthly father is the Son of God. So if you hate the son, you're going to hate the father. No man return to the father unless you love the son. And most people don't
Mm.
realize that.
Yes, most definitely. They don't realize that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the power of being an entrepreneur. Now, the word
Yes.
entrepreneur means entreprendre. It was a Latin word, and it was invented in the 15th century in France. And a gentleman by the name of John Baptist, he invented the word, and over 300 years later, that word still exists, which is
Right.
entrepreneur. So entre means between, and pendre means to take. So it means to take lower productivity and increase it to higher productivity. Can you explain to the audience how you're increasing your productivity in your businesses?
Well, in all honesty, I don't feel powerful for having a business. I just feel, I just know that I'm blessed to have my own business. And I've learned how to deal with employees, because dealing with people, you need God to help you with that, right? And
That's
so
right.
I learned how to deal with people in the right way. I've learned how to manage the finance so that I can be fair with the employees. I learned how to um, reinvest into the organization, and so that we can, make money to keep going. And in all honesty, Arthur, I really just take one day at a time, and I'm just blown away that a little country boy with only a high school education, and I don't know how I got that, because I was taken out of school so much to work the plantation. Uh, but other than knowing that God is with me, I just think God made it possible. Well, I know God made it possible for me to have a business, and so I'm running I do speaking around the world. I write books. I do a radio and TV show. I do other interviews. I'm working with a staff. I have the best staff around the world, man. They're so committed to helping them bond. And so I make sure I try to pay them well and treat them well. I'm honest with them. If they do something wrong, I'm on them about it. If they do right, I recognize that as well. I don't know, it seemed natural because I know all that I have and all that I do is from God. So like, I'm like blown away that I've had this company for 29 years and I had the janitorial company for 7 years. And I know, because I don't have sense enough to do it on my own. So I know that everything that has happened is from him. And what's so interesting about it, I mentioned before, it's all inside of you. Jesus was asked about the kingdom of heaven in the Bible while he was on earth. And he said that the kingdom of heaven is at hand. It's inside of us. The word made flesh. And so everything you need to know, and you already know it, but if that anger is in the way, you forgot that you knew it. But once you get rid of that anger, your eyes open up from within and you start to remember what you already know. And so once again, I just take one day at a time and I deal with whatever's in front of me to do. And I still have time to waste. I go to the gym, I read, I do what I need to do. But yeah, we've been very fortunate in running a good organization. And I hire the right kind of people. I have a manager, I have a board, just kind of do what I need to do. But I'm not in competition with anyone else. I don't look at anyone else and want to be like them. I love being me. I just love being Jesse. I'm not like my father. I'm not like my mother. I'm like me. And there's nothing like being you because God is with you and everything would just unfold for you. It's a big mistake to look to the world for answers because all these people with these degrees and SADs and master degrees and PhDs and RSDs and STDs, and they have no idea what they're doing. They really have no idea what they're doing at all. They pretend to know, so they wear these titles. I'm a psychologist. I'm a psychiatrist. I'm a counselor. I'm a preacher. I'm a reverend. I'm a bishop. I'm a this or that. They're dumb as they're doing that. All they have is intellectual knowledge, but not the wisdom of God. And the wisdom of God that will come through you is greater than the intellectual knowledge of the world. And so I would recommend that you don't listen to them. And if you listen, don't hold on to what they say. Let it go in one ear and out the other one, because they literally have no idea what they're talking about. That's why behind closed doors, their lives are screwed up. Their families are falling apart. Their relationships are falling apart. They're getting all kinds of diseases. They have cancer and everything because they are children of the lie rather than children of God. So God is in you, man. And if you just seek him first, keep your eyes on the present, don't live in your head, doubt every thought. Adam doubted the truth and believed a lie. Now we have to doubt the lie and then we can believe the truth. When you doubt every thought, don't try to control them. Don't try to pick out the good ones or the bad ones. They're all not true. So God said, bring everyone into captivity. So just let them all, watch them, let them pass, don't hold on to them. And it's going to blow your mind what's happening in the presence of God. You wouldn't have to give it a second thought. It's so clear and you're not stressed out. You're not worried. And so many opportunities to open up, man. It'll blow your Amerifro off. Do you have an Amerifro or an Afro? Do you know what a Amerifro is?
Break it down.
I don't have an Afro. You know how some of these black people call themselves African Americans? And they wouldn't know Africa and slap them in the face. Well, I say that I don't have an Afro. I have an Amerifro. There are no African drums beating in my chest. The American guitar playing in my heart. Born on a plantation in Alabama, grew up under the Jim Crow laws, black as the ace of space, but 100% American. I am an American. I'm so thankful for that. I can hardly stand it. And so I work to give back to my country, because you're supposed to not ask what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. So I give back by being an example, telling the truth, working hard, and doing right before others.
You know, Jesse, that's absolutely true. And it's a lot of things that's going on right now in terms of spiritual warfare. And I know you heard about, you know, the great, you know, A-list artist, Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah.
And I was just talking to his people Sunday, and we was going to set up, you know, solidify an interview for him coming on my platform. But unfortunately, his life, you know, has been taken too soon. He was only 33 years old, but he was helping out the community by creating jobs, by stimulating the economy within his own community, you know, in California. How do you feel about that in regards to genocide from our own people? And I know that he was going to do a documentary with Dr. Sebi, but from your perspective, do you just feel as though people become successful, here come, you know, the snakes and rats that's going to try to bring you down?
Well, I had never heard of that guy until this, he was killed, and it's all over the news. So I've been looking at reports on it, and then I heard today that they have captured the guy that allegedly shot him. But I'm not surprised, because in the Black community, it wasn't like this prior to the civil rights movement. I have to tell you that the worst thing that happened to Black people is the civil rights movement. There should never have been a civil rights movement, because ever since that started, Blacks have gotten worse, and they have never returned back to their normal state of being. Prior to the civil rights movement, when I was growing up in Alabama, you had grandfathers and grandmothers around. You had fathers and mothers around. It was an embarrassment to have sex out of wedlock and make babies. And if a woman got pregnant, she would get married before having a baby out of wedlock in the Black community. Abortion was unheard of. And women raising children without a father was nearly unheard of. And but when the civil rights movement started, all that changed. And for a Black man not to work was unheard of. I don't know anyone growing up that didn't work from day one. The moment they popped out of their mama womb, they went to work after church. And so the men grew up working. And so when the civil rights movement started, Black people gave up that kind of freedom. They said, no, I don't want to think for myself anymore. I want to have babies out of wedlock. I want free stuff. I want Jesse Jackson and the so-called civil rights leaders to think for me. And so they stopped thinking for themselves. They stopped getting married. They started having babies out of wedlock. They went to hell in a handbasket. And so the men stopped being around to raise their children, so they weren't examples for their children. And so I'm not surprised at all about the violence, the Black on Black violence, because the mothers are raising the children, and the children are angry at the mother, but instead of telling the children to forgive their mothers, they are told that it's the white man, that it's racism, and they're adding to that anger. And so Black people are killing one another, because if they can't get to the white man, they're going to kill one another. And so, as I said earlier, the anger that you see in the Black community, all this killing and stuff going on, it's the anger of the mothers. If they had fathers, they would not be doing that, because it's the father that protect them from that anger, the lack of love from the mothers. And so you're going to see it more and more. It's not going to change until we reverse that order, where the men are the head of the women, and from God, through Christ, through the man, through the woman, through the children. The hell that come from below is the one that brings destruction, but the love that comes from above, it brings peace. And so this guy that was killed the other day, and we don't get men back to their natural state of being and be over the woman and guide the women and children in the right way to go, no money, no welfare, no affirmative action, no reparations, No white people telling us that we're okay, you can't help yourself. None of that's going to change. Blacks are only going to get worse rather than get better. The power is in the man, not in the woman. And we got to reverse that order. Otherwise, you're going to see more and more of that. What do you think about that?
You said that's a powerful statement. You said the power is within the man and not the woman.
Right.
This economy is definitely shifted.
Yeah. Women don't have power. It's a lie that women are strong. Men are strong. Any man that think that a woman is strong is weak. The power is in the man. That's why when you marry, a man brings a woman into his world, out of her hell, into his heaven. It's not, but if a man go into her hell, go into her world, he's going to catch pure hell, and then he's going to die.
Ooh.
She's going to kill him.
Wow.
You notice how men die before the wife?
Yeah.
That's because she's killing him. He can't handle the hell in her, so she kills him.
Wow. Now, how do you feel about whether, men are married to their spouse or, they have a baby out of wedlock and they are with their significant other? They may be living together, but they didn't tie the knot yet. And let's just say the woman, they'd be like, I've been with you for 5 or 10 or 15 years or 20 years. And all of a sudden they just say, I just went out of the marriage. And then next thing you know, they putting their spouse or their significant other in court. And we know court is tied in with the government in terms of child support. They make 12% off of each case. And then what's left, they give that to the mother. How do you feel about child support? And do you think that's basically a man's downfall when he gets into that system?
Yeah. When you say significant other, you're talking about gay people?
Well, I'm talking about, a man have a significant other with his woman.
But straight people are not supposed to use that word significant other. That's what the homosexuals use because they're trying to make us think that what they're into is normal. 2 men together, 2 women. And so they're trying to use, rather than saying my boyfriend or my girlfriend or my husband or wife or husband, they want you to say significant other so they can include themselves. So I recommend you not use that word because that's a homosexual word. It means.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'll say, all right. I'll say
either they're living, right. They're living girlfriend or boyfriend in women cases or your wife or your husband, then we'll know we're talking about straight people. But
okay. I'm talking about straight people.
Child support is an effort to destroy the man, to keep him down. Men are the most hated species on this side of heaven. And the reason that they are hated because they represent good. They represent God. And the children of the lie know that if a woman get married to a decent man, that they can't control that woman, they can't control their family or anything, right? And so they'll pass all these laws that goes against men. If a woman can literally lie and say you verbally abuse her, that doesn't even make sense, right? And then they can take you to court, it can be made up. And they can take you to court, have you put in jail, and you haven't done anything wrong. They just take her at her word. And then if you have children with her and she takes you to court, even if she lies, they're gonna make you pay for the baby. And knowing that you can't even afford to pay in most cases, or they'll make you pay half of your money, and that woman don't even use the money to raise the kids with. It's another effort to destroy the man by putting him in jail, taking the money from his paycheck, making him or rendering him helpless to the woman. It's another attempt to destroy men. It's so wrong to have to pay your money for a child that you're not even with. And they don't make sure that you see your kid. And even if the court happened to say, okay, 50-50 visitation, right? Even the woman dictate that. She tell you when you can pick them up, how you can pick them up, and why, and how long. And you can't take them around your family and all that kind of stuff until you eventually the man just say, forget it. I'm not gonna be bothered with it. And it's not that men leave their children. Men love their children, They just can't handle the mother. So and instead of telling the children that the mother said your father didn't love you, he didn't pay his child support and all that. Kids don't care nothing about no child support. They love their fathers and they want to be with their fathers. And so child support is another attempt to destroy men. It's wrong, it's evil, because if you can't be with your child, you shouldn't have to pay a dime for that child, because it took the wife had sex with you just like you had sex with her, and she doesn't have a right to take your child and your money. It's pure evil. It's wrong.
Wow.
But people are afraid to say that.
You're right. That's absolutely true. Now, what you were saying prior to what you were saying about child support, now, can others, just do some soul searching and say, you know what, I don't want to put my husband or my boyfriend through this shenanigans with child support. I'm just going to go down there and just drop the child support case and we'll just work this out. Wouldn't you think that would be a better blueprint for that's at stake?
That's right. It will show the decency of the woman, the mother, and it will show the love that the mother really loves her child, whether it's a boy or girl, that she's doing all she can to not hate the father. She want to make sure the kids don't hate the father, to love their father. And she knows that if she did it the right way, the father will help. He will help take care of his children, because men love their children. They just can't handle the woman. So yes, that would say a lot about that woman, but most women are not going to do that. They'd rather send you to hell before they do it the right way. They'd rather turn your children away from you. And they'll see you wanting your kids. They will see that your kids want you, but to punish you because she hates you, she would rather destroy you and the kid and take your money than to do the right thing. But if they did that, man, that would say a lot about them.
You're right. That's absolutely true.
Yeah. But to find that is like looking for a needle in a haystack.
Wow.
Have you ever seen a logical woman? Thank you.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, I know a lot of people that's married, but I know a lot of people that they went through a lot of, marital issues as well.
And those people are married catching hell from their women because they're married to their mothers. And they don't know how to deal with it. They don't know how to help her overcome the hell that's in her, because they're still afraid to stand up to their mother. So they're afraid to stand up to the woman that they're with, because you become attracted to what you hate. And if you hate your mother, every woman you get involved with, I don't care if a black man get with a white woman, or a Mexican, or a white man get with a black woman, or a Mexican, or Japanese, or Chinese, or West African, they still attracted to mama. And they're going to become the boy, and she's going to become the mama. That's why you got to overcome your mother before you get involved with women. That way you don't end up with a woman that's like your mother. Then you can live a long life and she'll die before you.
Wow.
But as far as starting a business, I'm telling you, you can do it the hard way by not putting God first in your life, or you could do it the easy way by putting God first. Seek first the kingdom of God in his right way, and all will be added. And so if it's in your heart to have your own business, he will open up opportunities for you. And it's, in the Bible, it says, God said, take on his ways. His ways are easy. His burdens are light. His yoke is easy, right? And that is so true, man. When you forgive so that God can forgive you, or he'll draw you back in, you can become a businessman or anything else you want to become. And it's much easier than the folks who are learning from the so-called experts. His way is nothing like what you would even imagine. I have young guys who have started their own business from our Entrepreneurial Academy. And prior to coming to the academy, they thought it was hard to start a business. They thought they needed a lot of money. They thought they needed a 5 or 10-year plan. They thought that they have to do certain things, but I tell them, no, none of those things are true. Drop the world's way seek the kingdom and do it God's way, and they're like blown away how easy it is to start and run a business. It's so amazing to see it.
Now you said seek the kingdom and do it God's way.
Seek the kingdom of
Now,
God.
you was talking about
way.
right now. Earlier, you was talking about you have a strong team that help you build your dream in regards to your business. Can you break that down in layman's terms? When we talk, let's talk about delegation. Now, and I know the minimum wage of a millionaire is around $524 an hour. So I always tell people in my network, what can you delegate for $524 an hour? Or you go way beyond that, what can you delegate that's within your current budget? How important it is for entrepreneurs and business owners to delegate tasks out that they're not currently good at so they could just focus on increasing their revenues in their businesses.
Well, what happens is, for me, I started out by myself. It was just me. But as I started to grow, I would fill those empty spots with what I needed. Like for my company, Bond, my nonprofit, I needed at first I got so busy, I needed a front desk person to do all the accounting, to answer the phones, to take orders and whatever, right? So I hired a front desk person. Then I got so busy with that, I realized that I needed a PR person, a public relation person. So I hired a public relation person. I opened my own public relation department. And then when I started the radio show, I hired a producer, and then I hired someone to engineer, to make sure everything worked well for the radio show. And then I hired an audio engineer to run the board while the show is on, play the music, the in and out commercials. And then we started the TV show, the same thing. I hired a producer for the TV show. Matter of fact, I have a couple producers for the TV show. I hired a crew to set up the cameras and make everything work. And as you're moving along, you will add on as needed. And that's the beauty about following the simple steps of God. You won't add on before you can afford it. You won't add on before you need it. And that way you can keep it going. And so as you're moving forward, you're going to see the person that you need, and that's the person that you're going to hire. It'll just happen naturally. And it will happen right on time, not before time. A lot of people add employees before time, and then they can't afford to do it. They go out of business.
Wow. Now,
and I'm honest with my employees. I tell them the truth about everything. If they're wrong, I say, hey, you're wrong. Why you do that? What in the world are you thinking? Oh, if they're right, I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. But, but I don't have that anger, so they know I'm not doing it out of hatred or pride. I'm doing it out of perfect love, because I have no hatred. I love all people. So I treat my employees in the same way I would treat you, in the same way I would treat my enemies. I would speak up, but not resent. So I have no anger toward anyone, because that's what happens when you become a son or a daughter of God. He would take the spirit of anger away from you, because that's Satan's nature. And when you have that, you live in darkness. You can't see the right way. And he would give you his perfect love, and then you can live by the light of God from within.
Jesse, I appreciate you coming on our platform tonight, because the whole premise of our show is to educate entrepreneurs and business owners on a national and international scale that they can live the life that they truly desire, but they have to be open to these important principles. So I don't like what I see what's on the news, so we create our own news.
Right on. Well, I want people to go to my website, rebuildingtheman.com, rebuildingtheman.com, or for more information, they could call 800-411-2663 800-411-BOND, or 800-411-2663. And for sure, I want them to read, all of my books are excellent, but I want them to read From Rage to Responsibility, because I write a little bit more about my life, what I was like before God took the spirit of anger away. And then they can see that it's abnormal to have anger. We're supposed to discern, but not to hate. And anyone have anger cannot discern, because they're judging instead of discerning. So I write about how I was overcome anger, so they can From Raised to Responsibility, The Antidote, Healing America from the Poison of Hate, Blame, and Victimhood. They can go to Amazon, any bookstore, or if they like an autographed copy, go to my website, rebuildingtheman.com, or call 800-411-BOND. And I just want to say in closing to all of the males out there who have anger, you are a beta male, not an alpha male.
Jesse, let's talk about using video. Now, I know a couple of years back, Google bought YouTube for $1.6 billion. So video is hot right now.
Yeah.
Can you explain to the audience the power of using video? And should entrepreneurs and business leaders use video to expand their brand?
Absolutely, and especially in today's society, because the millennials, most of the millennials, and then the Z's under the millennial, the next generation, they don't watch TV, or they rarely watch TV. They watch everything on YouTube, on videos, right? And so, and you definitely want to make sure you reach the younger generation, because that's where your main customers are going to come from, and those are the people you want to help anyway. And so, I highly recommend videos, because anywhere in the world, people are going to hear about you. They're going to watch you. Well, they might not see you on TV or something. I've done a lot of TV stuff, but I've been more successful with videos than I have with even on TV. I literally hear from people around the world. We counsel with people from Africa, from Europe, from Russia, from New Zealand, Canada, and some parts of the world I had never heard of, and then all around the United States. So video are very powerful for any form of business that you may have.
So once people like you, respect you, and trust you, that's when their minds are made up and they want to invest in you because you are your brand.
Especially if you're helping them in a good way. My heart desire is to wake up people, point them back to the source, which is God, to wake them up, because once they wake up, they can see the right thing to do for themselves, because God allows them to see. And so most people that watch my videos, they understand my whole purpose is to wake them up. And it's not me who wake them up, but I point them back to the source within that will wake them up. And once you help people, they're going to naturally help you as well, because they know that you have done something good in their lives, so they want to give back. It's a natural thing to do.
Jesse, let's have a conversation about money. Now, I know money is not the value. Money is just a facilitator to do transactions. Can you explain to the audience how we define money?
How to do what with money?
How would you define money?
Oh, money is just a tool to get things done. On this earth, we need money. If you need to run an organization, if you want to run any other kind of business, if you want to reach out to people to help people, it costs, right? And so money is a way of getting those things done. But money should not be your God. You're not going to find peace with money. You'll find a fake happiness, a short fake happiness, but perfect peace only comes from God. And so I've learned to, I think I'm like my daddy on that too. I'm very tight with money. I like to use every dime in the right way. And I still pick up pennies from the ground when I see pennies on the ground, and I save them and make them work, because I'm grateful for the finance that God give us to do what we need to do. And so I try to use it wisely. I don't like wasting money. I even teach the guys to do the same thing, that when they get a paycheck or whenever they make $1, make sure they save 10%. Always put 10% away in saving, and then take the rest of the money and pay your bills. You buy your food, pay your bills, put gas in your car, pay all your bills, have a little change in your pocket. And then one day, the opportunity will come along where they can invest the money, right? And so the money that they've saved, they'll take that money and invest it, buy a house or into something, right? And then that'll produce more money. One money will lead to more money and more money and more money. But you got to have a sense of self-control in order to live in that way. You know, I've just been told that I got to run because I have a class I got to do right now, and
Okay.
they're waving at me now. But I want to tell
Okay.
you guys, man, it's been amazing being on with you.
Likewise.
I could tell you for a couple hours.
Anything I've said that you guys disagree with me about at all?
No, no,
How about you?
not
How
at
about
all.
you,
I mean,
Jordan?
No, to be honest, Jesse, everything you said was, excellent information. And, I appreciate you sharing your wisdom with, with us, both of us, all of our audience. Definitely very much appreciated. It's an honor again to have you join us.
Well, likewise, it's an honor. I'm glad to be on with you guys. And I just want to say to the men, I have a T-shirt that says, "It's okay to be a man. It's okay to be a man. Don't take off your body parts and put on a woman body part. It's not going to make you a woman. You're going to still be a male." You know what I'm saying? And don't let women turn you into women. You know, be a man. It's okay to be a man. It really is. And I don't care
that's
how
true.
they attack you. It's a blessing to be a man because you're sons of God. And you can't get a greater blessing than that. So don't take off your body parts and put on a woman body part. You're still going to be a male. You know what I mean?
That's right. Do
All
you
you
have
gotta
any
be,
last? Do you have any last pearls for the audience?
yes. Number one, seek first the kingdom of God and his right way, all be added. And when you do that, just get to know yourself first. And you will see what's happening inside of you. You will see that spiritual warfare happening. And that there's nothing that you can do of it for yourself. You can't change yourself. But if you can admit you're wrong by being angry, and angry, resentment, judgment, hatred, the same thing, right? So if you can admit you're wrong for hating anyone, then go to that person and forgive them, and God will forgive you. And then from that point forward, your whole world will change. I want them to know that every thought is a lie. Every thought, no such thing as a true thought. You're not your thoughts. And so let them all pass, and the wisdom of God will be there for you to guide you. Satan talked to you in your head, and God revealed to you from the soul of your belly. And so revelation will be there if you can doubt all thoughts. And then whatever you're doing, whether having your own business or working for someone else, if you're working for someone else, treat that job as though it is your own. You know, be there on time, put your best into it, be honest, do the right thing. Treat that business, somebody else's work, as though it's your own. And then when it transfers to your own business, you'll already be enrolling. You already know what to do. But you got to have a good attitude about everything. I have a good attitude, the same attitude I have today about my nonprofit. It's the same attitude I had when I had a janitorial service. And the last thing I wanted to do was clean toilets, but I was grateful for having my own business. And I had no idea that one day I would have my own nonprofit organization. But because I had a good attitude, when I worked at the hospital in computers, I have the same attitude that I have today. I was grateful to have a job. And with that attitude, you can't go wrong. And then don't hate anyone. Be honest, but don't resent. You'll have a good life. It'll be perfect. And
Now, with your nonprofit organization, did you have people to help you with your bylaws?
Yeah, what I did was, once I started Bond, I built a board because I needed a board, right? And so I had a lawyer on my board, and the lawyer helped me to put together the bylaws. And so that's how we got that going. He was a board member at the time.
Wow.
And I'm learning, and I didn't go to school for that, man. I learned as needed. I saw the next need. You know, the next need was a board. So I put together a board. The next need was to find a building. I found a building. You'll see the needs every day, and don't worry about what you think you might need. No 5-year plan and all that. That's dumb. I remember, and I got to run, but I remember that when I first started my board, they asked me, what is your 5-year plan? What do you want? I'm like, I don't know nothing about no 5-year plan. I hardly know what I want today, right? And so I never could come up with a 5-year plan. I just said, this is what I need for now. So let's take care of this, and tomorrow will take care of itself. And it's so amazing. It works so well like that. That way you're not stressed out. You're not worried. You're not looking to the future that doesn't exist. You're not worried about something that doesn't exist. You're not thinking about the past, which doesn't exist anymore. Everything that happens now. And when this now is over, you take care of the next thing, because that doesn't exist anymore, except in your mind. It's not for real. So just relax, keep it simple.
Jesse, I'd like to thank you once again for taking time out of your busy schedule to educate me and the audience worldwide about wealth building principles, about God, and your phenomenal book, The Antidote. I'm glad you appreciate it. You are a gift from God.
And so are you guys, man. It's been amazing talking to you and Jordan today. So thank you for that.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you, Jesse.
All right. Take care, guys.
Take care. To everyone that's listening, remember that the strongest asset each and every one of you have is your brain, and what you think about and what you take action on, that will become your reality, and your mentality creates your reality. May God bless each and every one of you, and bye for now.